As more people get out and about, that means probably more calls to our heroes to come rescue us. Let's bring in Greg Flynn. He's the chief over at the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Chief, always great to have you with us.
Well, almost good afternoon to you guys. How are you? How are you doing, Tyler and Ronnie?
We're hanging in there, but I will say this weekend it's expected to be 90 degrees again. So many people will be out and about. In general, outside of a pandemic, what types of calls do you and your team members typically respond to in the summer?
Well, I would say that most of our calls kind of remain pretty consistent throughout the year. But what we do see an uptick where we would normally say we're out on the ice or we're doing something with the lakes, it just changes to open water, and there might be an issue with a boat or someone out in some hazardous weather, either early in the season or late in the season in their kayak, and things get a little crazy and the kayak turns over, those things. But I'll tell you this, our residents do such a nice job of being their situational awareness that often our own residents are affecting those rescues. There's an awareness on the open water. They see a boater in trouble, and a boater helps out another boater. And often by the time we get there, the residents have already taken care of their neighbors out on the water.
Yeah, the lake community really is a great community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's in the air. When there's fireworks, and I've had the opportunity over the years just to kind of walk the beach area, and everybody's getting excited about the fireworks coming. There's just a connection that when you get by the water, that everybody just takes a deep breath, and it just seems to go a little bit easier for the most part.
Hey, Chief, if we can talk about fireworks, because one thing, if you live in
can't.
this area, I'm like, we are already hearing them go off. They started last weekend. I was like, hello, people. Can we just wait?
Sure.
But, there are so many people that go ahead and get them. We know that some communities this year did not issue permits for the big fireworks. The city of Detroit is still going to be closed to the public, even though they're going to do it in a private location. But when it comes to that, I feel like we're seeing more people, or at least I'm hearing from my bedroom, it seems like more people are buying them either online or is setting them off, and they're bigger than what we're used to from when we grew up as kids.
Sure. Fireworks have been an issue my entire career here, almost 24 years here in West Bloomfield. And it really, the access to the devices, it's just everywhere. And so without being able to have that direct control over access, how people get them, and then usually by the time someone starts a show, their own private show, and by the time, the time that they call for us and the police come out and all that, it's complex to try to get there before they're done.
And we would like to remind people, be kind to your neighborhood, because we do know, they'll set them off in our neighborhood. Our houses are pretty close together. And if you get a dud, it can burn down a house or a structure pretty quickly.
Well, and I can tell you there's been multiple fires over my career where that's exactly what happens, whether it's, something like a bottle rocket or something that goes airborne and it wedges underneath a shingle. And what it does is it's just going to smolder there. And our fire investigators play an active role in determining that. But talked to Fire Marshal Turnquist before, and he pre-approves and reviews, along with his team, all of the shows. And we really want to encourage people to go to professional shows. They work with the fire department. They set up in a safe area. You've probably seen them set up on the beach or out on a barge, where they're surrounded by water. Afterwards, we circle that barge with the pyrotechnic team, and they make sure everything is extinguished. It's just a safer way for everyone to enjoy it. And you see the really big, beautiful fireworks when you do it that way.
That is so true. Chief Greg Flynn with us here on the MegaCast with the West Bloomfield Fire Department. And Chief, if I can ask you, Do you guys do any type of checks of some of these pop-up fireworks stands to make sure they are selling legitimate fireworks and legal fireworks?
So it's a great question, Ronnie. We'll coordinate with the state fire marshal's office for jurisdiction over those, but we'll work in close concert with them as far as that goes, in making sure that the permitting of that we play a role in with locally, and how the tent is set up and all of that. But again, we coordinate with the state fire marshal's office on the overall oversight of those.
Yeah, I know it's hard to keep up with too, because some of these just seem to pop up overnight and then disappear overnight.
Right, and it's all driven by demand. So if there's no demand in West Bloomfield or the surrounding area, then they don't pop up. So always part of the difficult conversation here. People say, Chief, why don't you just make it stop? Or if you talk to Chief Patton, he gets the same questions. And demand is what drives the market for these things. And clearly there is a demand. You can hear it on any given night. But I agree with you. People do need to be considerate of their neighbors. They need to be considerate of their pets. And when we know something's coming, when we have scheduled fireworks shows, that gives people time to prepare. But when it's just 9:30 at night and all of a sudden you're getting ready to kind of call it a night and things start popping off down your street, that is pretty frustrating. And we would just encourage people to call the non-emergency number into the communication center, alert us about that, and they'll probably send most likely a police officer over and try to correct the situation. And if it's a bigger situation or there's things that need to be disposed of, then they'll activate the team at the FD and we'll come out and assist.
We're talking with Chief Flynn over at the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Chief, how are other things going there with you and the department over the past month or so? It's been a few weeks since we've had you on the show.
Things are going well. The team is really coming out with some of the restrictions being lifted through MIOSHA around the engine house. I'm very grateful to report that we haven't had any significant COVID cases within the department now in quite some time. I'm looking for something wood to knock on here.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. And I really do want to compliment the men and women here at the WBFD, because they're the ones that make that happen. They're the ones that are taking care when they're out on the calls for service within the community and in and out of the hospital, deconning the ambulances on a regular basis. Now, these are all things, Ronnie and Tyler, that we've always done. We did uptick it though with the novel coronavirus, just because that was the right thing to do. And now I think we're in an even better place with the ease of the deconning and access to plenty of those solutions that we need to properly do that. And just again, I think the overall awareness, with even the mask mandate being lifted in many of the big box stores and open spaces. I was down at the market, with your previous guest, Danielle and I were just down there this weekend. And still, if you go into the meat section on the other side of the freeway there at the market, everybody had their mask on. And you step outside and people were taking it. I really think that the public gets it. And I've always been a fan on this show of saying that there are so many people that get it. And too often, I think people want to focus on the one or two people that are problematic with compliance with a mask or, arguing vaccine in kind of some non-relevant way. I think most people get it. Yeah,
you are definitely seeing that now. In fact, I've been surprised at how many people are still wearing a mask.
Right.
So it's, and it's to everyone's choice as well, which is the good thing. Hey, Chief, just a couple minutes here with you. Are you guys doing any hiring this summer at all?
We are. We just closed out. Well, I shouldn't say closed out. We just are taking a snapshot of the candidates that we have right now. We have them scheduled for interviews on June 10th. So right now we have 2 open positions, but we're always looking for good candidates in the area, because there's, the WBFD 95 budgeted positions within the fire department here in the sworn, uniform positions, 4 civilian positions. So 99 employees. There's turnover, and that's natural turnover. That's not COVID turnover or anything like that. This is just years of service have been met, and they've completed that chapter and they're moving on. So we're always looking for good candidates to come in. I would encourage those that have their paramedic license in particular, and they've been considering becoming a firefighter. We'd love to put you through the fire academy So we're taking applications from folks that are state licensed paramedics or even close to, Ronnie. If they're in paramedic school and they're going to complete it within the next 6-7 months, we want to talk to them. And if they're a good candidate, we're going to hire them. We're going to help them complete their paramedic class. And then we're going to send them over to the fire academy. So a lot more opportunity. We've kind of opened up that group that we're looking at. So we really want to get the message out that if you're a state licensed paramedic, soon to be a state licensed paramedic, and you're interested in also being a firefighter, we want to have a conversation with you here at the WBFD. I
think that's great to know, because I know a few people that are in the line with what you're looking for as well. And, so many of these candidates apply to multiple departments at one time. So still people are interested in being our frontline heroes, which is great to know. But Chief, we want to say thank you again for your time. As always, sorry we were a little late getting to you today.
Oh, no worries. Always good to be with you. Enjoyed listening to the MegaCast here going up to the interview, and just wish you guys continued success. Thank you.
We'll see you at Eastern Market one Saturday.
I love it. Sounds good. It won't be dressed like this, though.
Chief Flynn with us here on the MegaCast from the West Bloomfield Fire Department.